All right, so here's some examples. So let's say they want us to graph one cycle of the curve y equals cosine x, as well as y equals cosine x, plus 3. So right off the bat, I know that plus 3 is a vertical shift, so I'm going to go up 3 boxes. So now here you gotta be really careful like what you want to do for your scale. Like for instance here, if I use my brown ink pen and graph just the basic cosine curve, so remember the cosine curve, the frequency is 1, so 2 pi divided by 1. Between 0 to 2 pi, I should be able to get a cycle. Now here I did every 2 boxes, and I know the cosine of 90, because of the unit circle, is 0. And I know the cosine of 180 degrees, pi, is -1. And the cosine of 270 degrees is 0. I can make the basic sketch of the cosine curve, which kind of reminds me of the half pipe. Not sure if there's any snowboarders in the class, but it's like the half pipe, or like Tony Hawk skateboarders out there. Anyways, so there's the half pipe. There's the cosine curve. But that plus 3, what I do with my green ink, I count 3 boxes. Now, again, this is basically dependent upon your preference, like how you want to set up your scale. See, I did every other box, so there's 1, every other box 2. So if I'm going up 3, I got to count appropriately. And there's your sketch. You can also do this on the graphing calculator if you want to. But the thing you have to understand, when you're studying functions, we always talk about domain and range. And luckily, the domain doesn't change, but the range, it does. And that's why oftentimes we teachers like to apply these transformations just to make sure that you know the range are your set of y values. And they definitely did change. Dilation, we've been doing dilations before. Like I was saying earlier, let's say I give you an amplitude of 2. Same idea. The cosine curve, because the frequency is 1, I'll start at the amplitude of 1, and I know the cosine curves end at 2 pi. And halfway between 0 and 2 pi, I'm at -1. So voila, here's how I make my basic cosine curve. Now look here. I'm not sure if you caught my mistake here. I curved up too late here to touch the 3 pi over 2. But I was using a scale every 2 boxes. You could change your scale, go every 4 boxes. No problem. That's why you label everything. Use a pencil, of course. So here, I'll use, now the next color, I guess I have a black ink pen. Oh, so cosine here has an amplitude 2. That's a dilation. So I start at 2, I end at 2. Halfway between, at pi, I'm at -2. And what's interesting, you still cross over the x-axis, still at pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. But that's your y equals 2 cosine of x. Now again, domain, same domain, it's all real numbers, but the range is different, right? Because the range here, I have a low value -2 and a high value of 2 for the second graph.